What's up, guys? Just want to enter you into my thought process a little bit today. I can't even talk, as you can tell. I've been playing the drums for like an hour, so I haven't talked to anybody. So if my lips are moving and nothing's making sense, that would be why. Yeah, here's a little bit of a thought process that I've been going through today. Something I tried that I used to do all the time, but I switched back. So here's the question, and it's two sides. There's a decision to be made here, okay? Ultimately. And what do I want to say? Okay, so the decision is, do I wear headphones, like cans, like this, while recording? Or do I go with in-ears while recording at home or in the studio? Or, you know, and then obviously the question arises, you know, if you go to another studio, whether it's another home studio that you're recording in or an actual, you know, full-on recording studio, let's say, you know, you're going to OmniSound. I've recorded there a number of times. Do you bring your own cans or your own in-ears, or do you just use the ones that they hand to you, that the ones that are the house, that belong to the studio? Do you take that risk? Okay, there's definitely some questions and answers here, and not everyone is going to agree. So there's, you know, it's just about the right thing. That's, you know, the thing that's right for you. So today, I tried using my in-ear monitors here at home in the studio again, just to, I don't know, I just got the bug. And like, as you probably know, and you've seen in my other videos, I've been using cans all along, and I've got these great, these cans that I bought maybe like, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago, Audio-Technica. This is not a paid endorsement, but these are the Ath M50x. So they're pretty, like, these are like the, you know, the go-to working model. You know, you go to any professional studio that has Audio-Technica cans, and these, you'll find these quite often. They're really common, and they're great because they're super comfortable, and they sound great, and they do the trick as far as isolating the drum sound pretty good. So some of the you know, it's pros and cons, right? Okay, so pros and cons. Pros are definitely cans are more comfortable, I would say. They're easy to flip on and off. So like, you know, you're in the session and, you know, you need to go into the control room, or like get up and go reach your bottle of water that's over there, or something, you know, just anything. It's just super easy to be like, boom, and like either take them off like this, or if you need to talk to somebody in the room and you don't want your cans on because you can't really hear them that well, you know, it's easy to go on and off like this, okay? So that's the first pro, I would say, with these. Another pro would be, you know, and this would be a con for in-ears, you know, if there's any kind of like loud noise or loud like interference, feedback, or static, or anything that suddenly like blows up your headphones, they're super easy, once again, to just like throw off, just like bam. And like, I've had to do that. And I've also been in scenarios where I was wearing in-ears and that happened, and oh man, that is just like the worst. It will ruin your whole day, if not much more than that. Like, not only will you have a headache, but your ears will be fried. Like, you won't be able to hear anything. It will not be the same for the rest of the day. And that's just super not good. So it is way more risky to have in-ear monitors than it is to have cans, okay? So that's another thing to sort of weigh out as you're making a decision. Obviously, in-ears are smaller, so they're more easily, like, you know, packed up and thrown into your backpack or whatever. But I mean, these fold up. I mean, come on. It's like, you know, and I would say also another pro is that The cable is nice. It comes with this great cable, which has the coiled style cable. It also has another cable that it came with that's longer, and it doesn't have the coil, but it's just like this style. But this is great, you know. And then of course you got the mini plug, and then it comes with, you know, a couple of the adapters to go 1/4 inch if you need to do that as well. Cons with these, they're definitely hotter. You sweat more with these on. You're just gonna, like, sometimes I'm playing in here and I'm sweating and I take them off and these ear pads are all soaking wet. I mean, that's just natural. That's what's gonna happen. So it's good to clean them once in a while. It's also good to clean your in-ears once in a while. You know, so I will say this would be a con for the headphones cans and a pro for the in-ears, and that is with in-ears, I just feel like the sound is more direct. Like I'm getting the sound delivered right into my eardrum, which essentially you are, of course, and it just feels like I don't know, like maybe it's the isolation, because definitely with in-ears, if you have a good seal, you have more isolation between you and the drum kit sound that's in the room, the ambient sound that's happening in the room, which is really what you don't want when you're playing the drums. You want to hear the drums through the mics, through, you know, the monitoring system, whatever it is that you're working with, and whether this is live or studio or whatever. I don't know, I just feel like transients are like a little bit more on with in-ears. That's just something I noticed today while playing with my in-ears. It's definitely like you get a closer representation of what your drums are going to sound like through the mics and into the studio, into the DAW that you're recording. I will say that something to pick up, maybe, I've seen these being sold at Harbor Freight, but get yourself a pair of these like aviator style earmuffs that, you know, they're not headphones, there's no speakers, they just block out sound, probably maybe like 25, 30 dB or so. So here's a little hint. Put your in-ears in, get them nice and sealed up, boom, inside, you know, thump, and then put these over the top of those in-ears, and you'll get a really, really good, like amazing isolation sound, and you'll really be able to tell what your drums are going to sound like in the studio without the ambient room sound like protruding into your hearing. So all you're really going to hear are the mics once you do this. The in-ears in, and then put these over the top of those, and it's a great way to hear the drums through the microphones only, because microphones hear the drums differently than we do, as you may well know. So if you're wondering about like mic placement, or especially with overheads, or just even the close mics, or maybe room mics, you know, you might solo the room mics and hear, you know, play a little bit and hear how the room mics sound, or mute the room mics and play with just the close mics, and you know, you definitely hear the difference there. So yeah, just some thoughts on what to use, you know, and then to answer the question about, like, if you're going to another studio or another, you know, somebody else's studio, should you bring your own cans or your own ears, or should you use the house? My answer to that is you should always bring your own. Whatever you're comfortable with is what you should bring, right? It's just like the same thing with, like, it's the same reason why I take my kick drum pedal, same reason why I take my drumsticks. Would you use somebody else's drumsticks on a session, or just take a chance that like somebody else even has drumsticks, or like has a matching pair that like aren't like bananas? You know, it's the same reason why I bring my drum stool to most live gigs and most sessions. Unless I know the place has like, you know, a quality stool, I'll pretty much always bring my own, because I don't want to risk sitting in some stool and like for 4 hours, like killing my lower back, or like, God forbid, it's like wobbly or noisy or something. I don't want to risk that, you know? I mean, it's my back we're talking about. If I mess up my back, it's like, like 2 weeks, I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not worth it. It's so much worth it just to like, if you only have one stool, just pack it up and throw it in your car, you know? And if you need it, there it is, you know? I mean, I have multiple stools. So I mean, this stool I'm sitting on right now, it stays right here in the studio. And I have a live, you know, drum stool that I use for all my gigs and sessions around town. And it just stays in the garage where I can just throw it in the car. You know, it's no big deal. So, you know, same with drumsticks. I keep drumsticks here in the studio, and then I have a stick bag for my gigs, so that when I leave for my gig tonight, all I do is I just grab my stick bag, and it's like on my shoulder, and we're set. I know that everything's in there. All right. So just some thoughts there. Trying to think more cons using in-ears, because it's starting, in my mind, it's kind of winning over a little bit. But certainly the con about like, if there's feedback in your in-ears, oh man, if you've ever been burned before, it's just the worst. And that alone could convert you to using cans for sure. I've enjoyed using these cans quite a lot. You know, it's a nice, especially because we're doing sessions by myself, where I'm engineering the whole thing, and I have to go back and forth between here and the computer, which is, I'm going to turn you way over there. Maybe you could see it kind of like right there. That's the screen. I think that's the screen. Oh, no, wait. That's the screen there. That little, it's not really, it's on screensaver mode. But, you know, so it's like maybe 10 or 12 feet over. And so I've got to keep getting up and, you know, adjusting things. And, you know, there's only so much that I can control from, you know, the iPad remote here. If I need to adjust the preamp levels, or, you know, any number of things, or even if I have to get up and adjust the mics or whatever, you know, you're going to have to like take, you know, and with the in-ears, it's not easy to take them in and out. It's not quick to do that. At least for me, it isn't. So what I'll end up doing in that case is I'll leave the in-ears in my ears and just unplug the cable from the extender, and then stick the loose end into my pocket so that I don't trip on it, or it doesn't like tangle up into something. And then do whatever I have to do with the in-ears still in my ears. Now, of course, that doesn't work if I have to go and listen to something through the monitors, or maybe if somebody's talking to me and I need to hear what they're saying, that's not as good. So, you know, definitely some pros and cons to weigh out here. You know, if you're used to wearing in-ears, it's kind of no big deal, but maybe you're not used to wearing in-ears, and you're not used to that sort of tight feeling where it's like these things are just stuck into your ears. You know, that can be uncomfortable, especially if the in-ears don't fit, or if it's a bad mold, or, I mean, I don't even have molds made, honestly. Like, I'm using these foam jobbers here. So I don't even have molds made. Actually, that's not true. I had molds made from Westone. These are Westones. And I was trying to get an endorsement through Westone, and they rejected me. And this was last year, about a year ago, right before COVID hit. I visited their booth at NAMM, and I talked to them, spoke to them, and yada yada, and they seemed pretty receptive. And then, but then once it came time to do the signing, you know, they were just like, nah, we're not signing anybody right now. So it wasn't like anything about me personally that they rejected, but it was just like they're not taking on new artists right now. And that was probably a good move for them, because it was like right before COVID, and of course everything just went kaput, as everybody knows. So there are no companies signing anybody right now that I know of, because there's no money, you know. So, you know, so I neglected to get the molds made from Westone, and I'm still trying to figure out what to do about that, because I do want to have molds made, you know, very soon, because I do struggle sometimes with these foam guys, because while they do go into my ears pretty well and they fit and stuff, and they do isolate the sound quite well, they tend to pop out a bit, especially if I smile, if somebody makes me laugh, like when your cheekbones go up like that, and it like affects the inner ear, and it kind of pushes them out a bit of the ear, and then I'll have to, mid-song, I'll have to find a place where I can like push it back in, and I hate doing that. It really bugs me. So, you know, and my friends tell me that you're just going to get way better sound with the molds anyway, that you know, the frequency response is going to be that much better. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. It's 16 minutes long. Sorry, guys. So hope this video helps. Maybe makes you think about like your monitoring situation, in-ears versus cans. And the answer to my question is bring your own cans or in-ears, whichever one is comfortable for you. Make yourself as comfortable as possible in every session and every live setting. All right, guys. Take care. Thank you. See you soon.